Good morning and welcome to 12.5. It is problem solving and how to read a graph. And this is on page 513, 513. And today we're going to go ahead and look at this graph that has red and yellow counters. So we're looking at this graph up top and we're going to read the directions. Erin made a graph of her counters. How many counters are in each category? Trace the numbers, trace the circle to show which category has more counters. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the red counters. This shows that up here in this graph are red, and down here in this part of the graph they're going to be yellow counters. So let's go ahead and count the red counters. 1, 2, 3. So they drew a number 3 that you're going to trace over. And now we're going to go back up to the yellow category and we're going to count the yellow counters. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to go ahead and trace the number 4 next to the yellow category. Now they want us to circle the counter that has the most counters or more counters. And in this case, 4 is bigger than 3. So yellow is going to be circled because yellow has more counters. Go ahead and turn your page to page 514. 514. And up here we're looking at this graph that says counter colors. Number 1 says Billy made a graph showing his counters. Color the counters to show his categories. How many counters are in each category? Write the numbers. So there's a lot in that question, so we're going to break it down to understand it. Billy made a graph showing his counters. So here's Billy's graph, and it's showing his yellow counters and his red counters. Now it says color the counters to show his categories. So to color to show his categories, we need a yellow and a red. So we're going to go ahead and take our yellow first because that's what is on top of the graph. We're going to color in our yellow circle to show that that is the yellow category. Then we're going to take our red crayon and we're going to color in the second circle to show that that represents the red category. All right. Now the next direction says how many counters are in each category and write the numbers. So we're going to look for our yellow. So here's our yellow category and we're going to go ahead into the graph and count how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to go ahead and put a 5 right next to the yellow category. Now we're going to go to the red category and count the counters. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have a number 4 that we're going to write there for the red. Now it says to circle the category that has more counters on the graph. So for number 2, we're going to circle either yellow or red to show which one has more counters on the graph. So which one has more, yellow with 5 or red with 4? Correct. So we're going to circle the yellow counter because it has 5 and that's more than 4. Moving to page 515. 515. 513. We're going to look at our counter colors and read our directions. Wrong made a graph of her counters. Color the counters to show her categories. How many counters are in each category? Write the numbers. So we're going to break that down and do each step at a time to really understand this. So it says for number 3, Wrong made a graph of her counters. So here's her graph of her counters. We have the red counters up here and the yellow counters down here. So that's her graph that she made. Color the counters to show her categories. So we see that red is the first one. So we're going to color red in this circle to show that there's a red category. And then she has a yellow as her second one. So we're going to color this circle to show that she had yellow category. Now the next step says, how many counters are in each category? Write the numbers. So we're going to go ahead and look at the red category first and count our counters. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to put a number 3 next to the red. Now we're going to go count our yellow counters. Here's our yellow counters, and we're going to count them in the graph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. So here's a number 5 that we're going to write. Now it says for number 4 down here, circle the category that has fewer counters on the graph. And the word fewer means less. So which one has fewer counters on the graph? Does the red category with 3 have fewer than the yellow category with 5? Or does the yellow category with 5 have fewer than the red category with 3? Very good. The yellow has more with 5, so then this must mean that the red has fewer counters in the category with 3. It's smaller, so that means it's fewer than yellow. Good job. Go ahead and turn the page, and now we are on 516. 516. 516. 516. We have counters and our graph, and then counters down here and places to write our numbers. So number 5 says, Brian has more blue cubes than red cubes. Draw and color to show his cubes on the graph. Count how many in each category. Write the numbers. So we're going to break this down to understand it step by step. The first one says, Brian has more blue cubes than red cubes. So the first step is we need to make sure we have blue as our category 1. So we have a blue category of cubes up here. And it says that he has more blue cubes than red cubes. So our second step is to make that second category of red cubes. All right, now we're going to go ahead and fill in our cubes. It says he has more blue ones, so I'm going to go ahead and put 1, 2, 3, 4 blue cubes there, which means if he has more blue than red, I can go ahead and put in 1, 2, 3 red. The next step, it says, is to draw and color to show his cubes on the graph, which we did. And now the last step says, count how many in each category and write the number. Well, we need to make sure we know which one is which. So let's go ahead and color the first one blue. So we know this is representing the blue category. And then let's make sure we color this one to know that this is representing the red category. All right, now let's go up and count our blue category in the graph. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to put a 4 next to our blue, and then we're going to go count our red in our red category. 1, 2, 3. We're going to double check that it said Brian has more blue cubes than red cubes. So we're going to double check, is 4 more than 3? Perfect. So we made Brian have more blue cubes than he did red cubes. Have fun with math today. Bye.